Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I decided to make this video a short while after my previous one because one of my followers approached me on LinkedIn, sent me a LinkedIn message, and asked me basically what are my views on what will be the future effects of generative AI in the asset management industry. And so I think because of the current times we are living today, artificial intelligence is such a big topic, a very important one in all sorts of professional jobs and careers and uh, courses of study that you may potentially be going through. And so I think this is a useful discussion to bring in. And so for your benefit, I think it would also be helpful to make this video for you guys. And so in this video, I want to share with you basically what are my views on this amazing tool that no doubt for sure it will be revolutionizing our lives and the way we work in many ways. And so first of all, I cannot stress this point enough. I think this is the very first statement I want to make for you guys is that generative artificial intelligence will, of course, over time, destroy and create jobs, many jobs in most fields of work, I would say. And I think this happens not only with AI or is supposed to happen with AI, but also with other groundbreaking innovations that came before it. For example, when the internet became widespread, basically all across the industries and in our lives, basically, for sure, many jobs were replaced by other ones. And so AI, in my view, will not be any different than other innovations such as this one that happened before. And so, in the case of the asset management industry, I believe it will bring a whole host of changes to the way it operates. And so, up until this point, I think it's very clear that we are seeing that generative artificial intelligence is already improving job performance across the board, basically across most asset managers that are already using it, because it is being used to, for example, gather and analyze market data much more efficiently, and also I think it's being used quite efficiently as well to make the requirement reporting to clients in terms of basically drafting presentations with performance and risk exposures to clients of asset managers. And so basically it made this required process, which because it's required by regulatory bodies, this particular process has become much more efficient, much less time consuming for asset managers. And also, I think it also improved the resilience of asset management infrastructures, because as you can imagine, many of these infrastructures involve very complex machinery in terms of IT applications and all that. And so these, because they need to gather market data and other types of data, they are a little bit more vulnerable, for example, to cyber attacks. And so I think AI in that respect helped asset managers to create a little bit more resilience and protection against those kind of vulnerabilities. And on the other hand, as you can imagine, uh, because up until this point, I think this increased resilience and all that helped at least to create some jobs in the cybersecurity industry, I would say. But on the other hand, I think jobs, for example, which are based on repetitive tasks and only require a very basic set of skills, are, in my view, the ones which are more likely to be lost. And so, in terms of what the future holds, I think it's quite clear for everyone that generative artificial intelligence is able to process complex, is able to process extremely complex patterns on very large data sets, and can even ultimately learn from them, learn from those patterns, and these patterns, by being created, the machinery and the AI itself can learn from them to basically create very useful outputs that can even drive decision making by asset managers. Uh, and so I expect that generative AI will eventually be able to model the characteristics of different kinds of investors, such as their risk tolerance, their investment preferences, their investment time horizon, their individual circumstances in terms of family, in terms of career aspirations, in terms of expected retirement age, and ultimately they can probably help to drive decisions in terms of what are um, the best outputs or the best decisions in terms of asset managers towards their those particular clients. And so by doing so, yeah, we can talk about, even in terms of decisions of security selection, asset allocation, hedging decisions, rebalancing decisions such as the frequency, the bands, which for those of you who are less aware or probably didn't go through yet the CFA level 3, um, rebalancing decisions are based on the frequency of the rebalancing. You can rebalance monthly, quarterly, biannually, and also the bands, or meaning how much away are the current allocation from the benchmark, so that you should rebalance. And so I think all of these decisions in terms of security selection, as I mentioned, asset allocation, hedging, rebalancing, these eventually can be made effectively by AI instead of a human person. And so, yeah, this is something which is, I think, eye opening for everyone, because probably we never envisioned such development happening. But yeah, I believe that potentially, if you can gather the data to train the machine to do this, the AI to do this, eventually we can reach this sort of state. And so I want to emphasize that even though this can be a possibility, and a very real one, uh, regardless of the scenario, or whether this scenario materializes or not, I think it is a certainty that um, the regulatory bodies across many jurisdictions, across all jurisdictions even, will have to enforce, I would say, a series of regulations that ensure the ethical and proper usage of generative AI, because at the end of the day, some personal data from investors and from other agents will need to be given to AI to process and to learn from it. And so the proper use of AI in that respect, in terms of their ethical and appropriate use in all other aspects, is an important requirement and an important aspect that regulatory bodies need to consider. Nonetheless, I must emphasize that professionals working in these regulatory bodies will also need to undergo extensive training to be able to properly supervise basically the asset managers using AI, because uh, as you can imagine, the ones who are enforcing these rules and these regulations need to be at least as proficient in the ins and outs of generative artificial intelligence as the asset managers using it. Otherwise, the supervision process will not be effective at all, as you can probably envision in that regard. And so one final aspect I would say that it is also very very key in this regard is that we have to consider the entire landscape of asset managers across the board, and we need to understand that not all asset managers are equal, and so many of those have different sizes, have different resources at their disposal, and so some asset managers will be able to better understand and better leverage even the potential and even the benefits created by generative alternative. Sorry, I keep coming back to generative artificial intelligence, and especially when it comes to the use and the interpretation of large data sets. And so, as a result, the asset management industry, in my view, and this is not probably not the optimal outcome, but it is likely that the asset management industry will become more fragmented as a restricted group of asset managers. I would say, especially the largest ones, will have the resources and the critical mass to reap the most benefits from generative artificial intelligence, and ultimately provide the best value proposition to their respective clients. While on the other side of the spectrum, all the other managers, including the mid-size and the smallest ones, not only in terms of assets under management, but also in terms of their client base and the resources they have available, will have the incentive, because they are less able to reap those benefits, will probably have the incentive to merge and even consolidate to avoid falling behind in this AI race. Basically, this is I would call this a race, and potentially to avoid going out of business. And in this particular context, I think AI is also, as I said previously, is also a catalyst for job destruction. Yeah, because eventually we'll pick the winners and the losers will be falling way, way, way behind to the point of no return. And so if we consider that generative artificial intelligence is continuously evolving and is unlikely to basically reach its maturity or stop evolving whatsoever over the next couple of years, it is possible that asset managers lagging in the adoption of generative artificial intelligence may be, I would say, less able, progressively, I would say even less and less able to catch up to the leading managers as time goes by, because the knowledge and the benefits that are can be gained from AI, in my view, I would say they compound over time. And so the longer you stay behind, you fall behind, it's much more difficult later down the road to catch up to the leaders. And so this is why I believe that any sort of gaps must be met and caught up very quickly in the beginning of this process. Otherwise, it's going to be much more difficult, especially for the smallest asset managers, to ever catch up in terms of the quality and the critical mass they are able to create together with their clients, to catch up to the leading asset managers in that regard. And so I would say this is basically, I think I covered every point of my views in terms of what I answered to this follower of mine. And so that is all from this video. As I mentioned in other videos, feel free to leave your comments below. Let me know what you think of this topic as well. Also, feel free to like the video and subscribe as well. I'm also, as usual, I'm also available on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, feel free to connect and drop me a message if you need to. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Thank you.